Jamir Watkins is staying in the draft. He was a guy who had his name in the portal and probably could have made a large sum of money had he returned to the college basketball landscape this past year. Dion, just to peek behind the curtains for the listeners, off air, you said I could not be lower on this guy. I said I love this guy. I am a massive Jamir Watkins believer. I think he should have stayed in the draft last year when he tested. I would have loved to see him be like a late first round pick. I would have done that if I was a GM. But let me hear. Okay, let me you can give your explanation.
I agree with that. He should have stayed in the draft process. I'm pro stay in the draft process if you have that opportunity. I would say about a million guys in this that are staying. If you have the opportunity to play in the league, take that. It don't come every day. It's the 1% of the 1%. Like it's not a given. Um, yeah, I just think he's an individual scorer, which is great. I do believe he's a bucket. That's my one word to describe him.
Mhm.
I'll help move us along, get in my host bag. No, that's my one word to describe him. I do think he's a bucket. I think his bucket comes at the expense of the team a lot, though.
See, that's where we're probably on opposite ends a little bit, even going with why I'm such a believer in him. I said he's a weapon. That was my one word because throughout his career, he's been asked to do, what'd you say?
Fire, fire.
Thank you. Thank you. So he's been asked to do so many different things. Like when he started out at VCU, he was a glue guy four who was in there making hustle plays. And even when he hit the portal, I remember being told by someone in the industry, he's cool with coming off the bench. Like he just wanted to go play at a bigger school. Ends up at Florida State where they need shot creation, and he provided that. He can handle, he can slash. I think he has pretty good vision. Like, I don't know how often this is going to happen to him in the NBA, but anytime teams would hedge him on a ball screen or double him off of ball screen, he would find the open man really easily. Good athlete. I think he's a defensive playmaker as well. Huge steal guy, just like really good off ball. I think on ball, like he can get caught on screens a little bit more than you would like from someone of his athletic profile. Like against Florida, for instance, that was their non-conference game. Like Walter Clayton Jr. was giving him buckets. Like he was getting lost on ball screens against Walter Clayton. I think that's a little bit concerning when you look at the age, when you look at how he's supposed to profile as this like next level athlete. And I would say kind of what you're saying about like he's definitely a bucket getter at the college level who took and made a bunch of tough shots. I do have some questions with his functional athleticism. Like he's not really he's despite his vertical pop, like he doesn't have the best first step. He's not really someone who gets guys on his hip. But I think just like his versatility, his ability to take care of the dirty work when asked to do it. Plus, there is still like that scoring ability. To me, I think he'll stick in the league for a little bit. But for you with Jamir Watkins, I think I probably already know your answer. Do you think he'll hit his floor or his ceiling?
I mean, so I want to point out for some of these guys, I very much so feel somewhere in the middle.
Hmm.
And that's how I feel about Jameer. But I did say floor. I also like when we get into where he's at in 5 years, I also think it could be a lot lower than what I said too,
Hmm.
for what it's worth. I think he's one of those guys that if he wants to, he could stick in the league for 10 years or so. Which by the way, like not to be a downer, but like in any draft class, not that many people actually stick.
Yeah.
That's just the
Yeah.
reality. I think Jameer has an opportunity to stick. I also think Jameer can make the choice to go play somewhere else where he's like the dude.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good reminder. I've found as we do these exercises, I usually say ceiling because I sign up for the guys who I loved in college, and it's tough for me to like remove some of the blinders there. I mean, I said ceiling for him. I just think with like the frame, the defense, and, or again, the more so the off ball kind, but and the ability to get to the rim despite not being like the most not having the most explosive first step, I think it bodes somewhat favorably for him, finding a good team and sticking.
That's a tough argument. Like he gets to the rim, but he's just like not athletic.
He is like he
In a
dunks a
league full of
lot. I would almost say, I mean, okay, so I'll mention your team, Con Knipple. We wouldn't say Con was a great athlete, but he got to the rim a ton just because he knew how to use his body. I think Watkins is a bit of the same kind of player, and not it kind of sounds funny to say that. They're not all that similar, but uses his body the same way when it comes to get to the rim, and he can finish above the rim. I just like he's just not the quickest. He's not like a quick twitch dude.
I think the difference between Khan and Jameer is the threat of Khan getting everybody else involved. I think that allows him to play within a lot more space than Jameer is going to be allowed to play within.
I just think that Jameer's a better playmaker than you're giving him credit for. But
He, he honestly might be. I mean, and also, like, I will say this. I say this all the time. There's guys whose game translate a lot better at the next level.
mhm.
Jameer's playmaking might be something that at Florida State we didn't see because the players around him weren't good. That
Player
he was
stunk.
also Yeah, he was also the focus of the other team's defense in the league. He's like eighth, ninth man, right? And he just is kind of
Hmm.
out there. He gets a free flow. He's always going to be playing in one-on-one situations for the most part. There's a world where like everything I'm saying is off just because of the role he would play at the next level.
For sure, for sure. Speaking of where he'll be at the next level, who do you think is his best team fit?
I said the Nets because they don't actually play like professional basketball. It's just vibes. It's just vibes. I think he can go out there. Him and Cam Thomas can take 20 to 25 shots each. They can vibe for a season, and then hopefully they get the bands up.
If he if he ends up at the Nets, like he might fight Cam Thomas. I said Nuggets because I want him in a good organization that like has a lot of success with his archetype. When we watched the Nuggets in the playoffs this past season, Dion, there was too much Peyton Watson. Like any Peyton Watson at this point is probably too much Peyton Watson. They need those like versatile wings who will come in and do the dirty work alongside Jokic and alongside Murray. And I think with Jamir Watkins, like he was the guy at Florida, but he's had stretches in his career where he hasn't been, which I think bodes favorably to him adapting to a new role. So,
I trust your scouting report a lot. I really do. I disagree on this one. I think the reason there was too much Peyton Watson is it's the pick and roll aspect with Jokic. He can
yeah.
be the ball handler. He can be the screener. It's the Bruce Brown effect.
Okay,
They just didn't find a better version of Bruce Brown. That's all it was.
you're gonna love my best case scenario for Jamir Watkins then. So, 5 years into the future, where do you see Jamir Watkins?
So I said he's a bench guy. So I teased earlier that I think he could make a different choice. I think Jamir Watkins, 5 years into the future, is somewhere between the ninth and 12th man on a team. I think he's going to have moments in his career where he is a rotational piece, and he's going to have moments where it's like, oh, Jamir Watkins is on the Raptors. I had no idea, type of thing. And there's some players that are fluid within that. Campaign's a great example of that, right? Where it's like at moments he's like, oh, Campaign, he's playing, and then it's also like, oh wow, Campaign's on this team. I had no idea.
Mhm.
But I think he could make the leap and go play in Europe.
He'd be a nice EuroLeague player, but I have him as a bench guy as well, hopefully on a good team. Moving on to his yearbook superlative, what do you say Jameer Watkins is most likely to do?
There's only so many good teams in the league, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know.
Uh, I said he's most likely to score 20 points per game as a rookie.
Dion, I'm not, I'll be honest with you. I don't really get your process with some of things.
I mean, listen, he like I said, if he's on the Nets, it's just vibes. And like I don't find stats to be very indicative of the game. Like Cam
Okay.
Thomas scores 25 points a game. I couldn't be less moved by
Yeah,
what.
that's fair. That's fair. Okay. The good justification. I said he is most likely to inspire multiple fan pages using his obscure nickname, which is just Mir. And I have called him Mir. This is like another peek behind the curtain. Like 3 years ago, when I was writing for the Field of 68 Daily, I interviewed Ace Baldwin, who played with him at VCU. And Ace Baldwin exclusively called him Mir. And I've been made fun of by others for still calling him Mir. His Instagram name is Mir. But it's one of those dudes where it's like, dude, Jamir Watkins is not good enough to just be Mir. Like, do we really need to do this? But I could see him if he does land on that good team, Dion. Someone's gonna fall. There are gonna be fans that fall in love with the hustle, that fall in love with the steals, and there's gonna be like Mir Muse Twitter pages popping up.
Hey, maybe I am prepared to be wrong on this one. Where is he? Where is his draft? Like where is he mocked at the moment though?
I don't know. I can just tell you the sleepers big board ranking. He's 50th on ours. Greg had him 43rd. Cart had him 39th. Ralph had him 73rd. I was the high guy with 36. You had him 54.
Yeah,
Ralph is really low on this guy. I need to talk to Brian about this, but
I don't know if he's actually mocked to be drafted at the moment.
there's a very good chance he's not.
Listen, by the way,
Against
I said
me.
score 20 points per game as a rookie. I never told y'all if it's in the NBA or G League.
Great, great point. Great way to couch it. Um, who's your best case scenario for Jamir Watkins?
TJ Warren, individual bucket getter, had the flash in the bubble, had his flashes as a rookie, but eventually everyone was like, dude, you're gonna have to like pass the ball and play defense at some point too.
Jamir Watkins does strike me as the type of player who would be special in a bubble for
Oh yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
I said Bruce Brown. This goes to my team fit. I think he can screen, he can slash, he can play make, good athlete, explosive dunker. And he's bigger than Bruce Brown too. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And Bruce Brown had similar questions with the jumper coming out of college. Bruce Brown shot like 29% from three at Miami.
Yeah, Bruce Brown still shoots 29%.
But he's paid. So who's your worst case for Jamir Watkins?
Well, I think you'll like this one. Theo Pinson. I think Jamir Watkins will have a special podcast one day. But I also think this, so this lends to what I said about he could choose to be on the bench or he could choose to play in Europe.
Hmm.
He could choose to play the Theo Pinson role where it's like you're a phenomenal teammate, you're gonna
Right.
have your moments. Or he could be like, you know what, dude, I just want to go be the guy somewhere and I'm gonna go play for Barcelona or Real Madrid. And because I do believe Jameer could average 20 to 30 in Europe and make
Yeah.
a whole lot of money doing it
Right.
at that.
For sure. For me, I said the worst case would be Dwayne Bacon. I went with another Florida State big wing bucket getter who just completely flamed out of the league. Dwayne
Dwayne,
Bacon.
by the way, didn't screen defense slash a thing, by the way. It was pure vibes.
I don't care about the Hornets. I'm notorious. I am from Charlotte, but like have not cared since they became the Bobcats. Yeah, just could not make myself care about the Bobcats. And I tried a little bit when they became the Hornets again. It was like, oh, this is still the same terrible team and terrible organization that I remember from my childhood. When the Hornets drafted Dwayne Bacon, I was like, this is it. Hornets on the come up, baby. We got Dwayne Bacon. Could not have been more wrong. Um, Fun player. A lot of potential outcomes for Jamir Watkins. Seems like a lot of different opinions, even on our sleepers team. We'll see how it pans out for him staying in the draft. Make sure you check out every single prospect breakdown we have on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me on this one, Dion.